Recently, I had this sort of discussion with somebody, and I was being told, that it's not something right, it's not healthy to isolate oneself from the world. Like I did. I've chosen this path, and I guess 7 years ago, 2017, I've started living mostly, not entirely, but a long period in a year. I would live in this house on a hill in Romania, which was mostly isolated. And of course, the village is down here. It's not the house itself which is isolated, but I kind of secluded myself from the world and from the people, and I've kind of stopped 95% almost of my interactions. And I just devoted myself in a way to trying to figure out what this existence is about and what my entire purpose here is. And now I was having this discussion with somebody which was strongly affirming that you have to be in the world, you can't be isolated like that and think you can understand or figure out who you are. Like you cannot find yourself in isolation. And I still need time to be able to respond correctly to this, because I think what's not experienced and thus recognized usually, it's what this world or reality is. It's like the world that we see, let's say the usual world that we find, the world of society, the world of the way it is constructed right now. When I described it previously in other recordings that it's hell and it's a world of hell, that was far from coming from, judgment or me feeling scared about it or me feeling angry or upset about it, or it. When I describe this world as being hell, I'm actually literally objectively describing facts. So this world right now, it is constructed primarily as a means of ignorance. So this entire reality, the way it is constructed right now, it's constructed on ignorance. And it's creating ignorance in its inhabitants. So just by interacting with this world alone, if you do not apply any form of internal effort, you will become more and more ignorant of yourself and forgetting of your true nature. That's a fact. So when one is saying that you have to be in the world to know yourself, it's almost the reverse. It's an antagonistic view towards how things truly are. Because the world itself, the way it is constructed, I'm referring to this version of the world which we have, this current, let's say, society right now. I'm far from seeing the world as in the intrinsic in the intrinsic nature of things, which nature itself and the earth itself, they contain an original meaning which is here to give us awareness, to remember, to make us remember who we are. So nature is here to make us remember, but society and everything that society has built is here to make us forget. So this is the difference. So when I say the word, I'm just meaning strictly, I'm referring to the world of humans, to the world of humanity and how humanity currently is shaped. I'm far from saying that this is the true humanity. I'm just saying that right now, the way we see humanity at this moment, it's a anti-version of humanity which works against nature and works against itself and is here to destroy the true humanity and is here to destroy the true nature and what we have all been given here on this earth as the most precious thing. This essence that it is in everything and has been given here to this earth. But what we see here currently in humanity, it's the anti-version. It's something which works against this spirit which has been given to everything here. It works because it cannot destroy this spirit. Nothing can touch it nor destroy it. It works to make us forget about it. It makes us forget it. So what this disturbed, let's say, human society and the mind that runs it at this moment can do is just to make us forget our true nature, which is this spiritual essence. So if one is in society right now and interacts with the world of society right now, it is going to be pressured all day long into forgetting one's true nature. And that's what happens. It's just by default. This world is never going to give you self-awareness by interacting with it. It's just obvious at this moment. I'm not saying a change cannot happen. I'm actually seeing that a change is possible and we might have a chance at it. But I'm saying that currently, the way things are right now, society and everything that the human mind is currently building and doing is here to make us forget our true nature, to make us forget who we truly are. So when a person or another advocates for we have to be in the world so we can know ourselves, it's almost like antagonistic. Because if you're referring that we have to be in this world in order to know ourselves, then I can speak from my experience that this theory is completely in reverse to my own experience. Because for me, I truly found myself more and more as I departed from the world more and more. So I can attest to my experience that right now, in 2024, after 7 years, I feel more myself than I ever did. I feel like so many parts of myself have been recognized. I feel like myself more and more each day. And although, yes, I am living in isolation and it pains me because, of course, my soul also wants companionship. And I would love to be able to feel myself surrounded by some group of people, some group of beings, which I can feel so in tune and at home with. But right now, I haven't been able to have this experience. And I just know that, for example, for me personally, going into the world right now and trying to, let's say, interact with this world as it is right now, in order for me to interact with it, I have to constantly lower my state of awareness. It's like I have to constantly do this, even when I go to the local, shop here in the village. Here, when I stay by myself, I am in such a state of awareness, and I am such in a state of lucidity, and which grows day by day more and more. But when I have to go to the village, and I have to, like, I enter into the shop and I have to interact with the lady from the cashier, let's say, or it's just I can see how I have to change my state of consciousness in something which matches their state of consciousness, so I can talk with them. Because if I would just be in my true self, in my natural self, I would just, just look at things like this and just admire, just, oh wow, it's like, wow, look at the shop, look, it has just shelves, and it has these things called products. Oh my god, how many colors, and how many shapes they created, but why is it like this? And I would ask her, like, hey, do you know where we are? What is this shop, If I would be my true self with her, with the cashier, with the woman from the cashier, I would ask her, like, hey, do you see where we are? It's like, do you see where we are? We are in a shop, and you're a cashier, and I'm like, I've come to buy the product, and you're gonna, like, I'm gonna give you the money, and you're gonna serve me. And it's like, that's what my true self would tell to her, but I don't have the courage to act like that. Like, really now, it's like my mind thinks that I would be considered either insane or schizophrenic or something. But that's the truth of how I would truly act, Like, do you see where we are? It's like, is this freaking real? It's like, do you think this is real? It's like, come on, we can't take this stuff to be real. This is what I would truly tell her, if I would truly speak from my true self. But since I cannot allow myself to speak like that because I'm really terrified of doing that, I don't know what would happen if I would do that, then I have to, enter into the play with her, and I need to act, like a customer, and I have to lower my consciousness to enter into that field of consciousness where they live usually. And when I do that, it makes me feel extremely nauseated. It's just such a pain for my soul to do that. And so this is why I've lowered all my interactions with this world, because I have to fake myself. I have to pretend, and each time I pretend of being something which I'm not, it just makes me nauseated at myself. I just feel just vomiting, it's just like feel I've just done such a huge injustice to myself. I've just stained something which is so pure. I've just allowed this purity of spirit and of my true soul to be, lower, to be faked, to be in instead of, shining and letting this essence, letting this spirit shine itself exactly as it is. But the thing is that if I would truly allow myself to be fully honest and be myself there in the shop, I would either scream in desperation. It's like, oh my god, it's like, where the heck are we? It's like, what is this? That's my true self. That's what it would do. Or it would be like, come on, this is a joke. It's like, you can't, like, we can't take this real. Come on, wake up. And I would take the lady and I would shake her by the, the shoulders, and wake up. It's like, do you see? Do you know? This is, it's like, where are we? Are you aware of this? Because I'm not aware of this. It's like, are you aware of what's happening here? Are you aware of who you and where we are? Because I'm not. It's like, do you know? Are you pretending? Are you faking this? Because I'm not. For me, this is truly real. It's like I don't know where I am. I don't know what's happening to me. This is how I would act. And if she wouldn't respond, or she would, start to say, "Are you freaking insane?" Or she would look at me like, "What?" Then I would start to either panic or scream, or it's just, where the heck am I? This is how my true self would act. Now tell me if I can go into the shop and act like my true self there. See, it's like, I can't because I'm afraid. I'm afraid to act like that. So all I'm left with is just going there and faking it. No, I have to fake it. I have to, good morning. Yeah, here's the money. oh, is the card not working? Oh, let me try again, on the little thing with the card reader, and okay, now it worked. Whew, we're fine. Oh, the day can continue, just normally again. Whew. Card worked, like that would be our problem in this reality, really now. And people, it's like, oh, but sometimes they complain about the quality of things. It's like, oh, this pumpkin, or these tomatoes, that they don't look like the best quality, Like that would be our problem in this reality. Like freaking, we don't know where we are. We don't know where we are. And then is it the quality of a pumpkin? That's the least of my problems. The fact that the card doesn't work is just the least of my problems. The list of the concerns, let's say. The main concern is where the freaking heck are we and what happens to us. That's the main concern. But can I act like that with them? No, I'm afraid. I'm literally terrified. It just feels impossible to go there and truly act the way I truly feel. So what do I do? This is why I'm saying that for me, going and interacting with the human world right now is just a torture, because I have to fake myself, and faking myself, it's a torture. It's just I feel like I'm betraying something which should never be betrayed. I'm betraying something which is so pure within me, and I allow myself to stain that each time I have to fake it out. So then the question arises, what are these human beings talking about when they say that we have to be in the world so we can know ourselves? Because I can tell you from my experience, that's the reverse of my experience. The world is not here to give us self-awareness. This world is not created to give us self-awareness. And again, I'm referring to the world of humanity and what humanity is currently constructing and doing. I'm far from referring to nature. Nature is fine, in my opinion. I'm far from saying, by the way, that this version of nature is the optimal, No, nature is freaking disturbed right now. Look at it. It just has been converted into a hell, in a way, as well. But still, nature is more pure. There is more purity in nature than in the world of humanity. For sure. So what are these people describing when they are describing like you have to be in society, in order to know yourself? Well, who is that self that you are going to know in society, in this society? Yeah, I can be there, and I had years in which I was there in society, and I was always this nice person. Like always caring for the others, always helping people, always being there for this world, compassionate by nature, let's say. What's to be found there? Because I did all of that, and then all of even the most, what in human terms would be considered like the pinnacle of, spiritual development in human terms, in this disturbed type of human view of spirituality, they consider that being compassionate, and just loving in a human way, that's spirituality. Well, I'm telling you, like, I've been like that all my life, and this being like this, compassionate and everything, I've played all the roles. I was the nice girl. I was the nice girl, trying to always please others, take care of them, helping them. But did I got self-awareness in return? Did I remember myself? No, I didn't. This world hasn't provided self-awareness. I was compassionate, but was I given self-awareness in return? No. That's the thing. It was the fake version of compassion. It's the fake, this reality fakes both the good and the evil. If you're trying to be a good person in this reality or a bad person, doesn't matter what you choose, because you're not going to be given self-awareness. So for the ones which are interested in true self-awareness, true self-recognition, true self-knowledge, let's say, but not mental knowledge, embodied revelation, embodied evidence, embodied experience of oneself, of one's true self, then I can tell you from my experience that this world with its entirety of good and evil, is not here, is far from being here to provide that. It's far from being here to give us self-awareness. So if my interest is genuine true self-awareness, then this word is gonna be a sort of like antagonistic to that. It's gonna be a sort of enemy in the right sense of the word. It's far from being an enemy which we should discard of or we should reject, but we should just see it as what it is. If I have to interact with this world, I have to fake it. Do I like faking my essence? Do I like faking my core truth? It feels the most displeasing thing I've ever experienced, to the point in which it just drives me to tears and just made me think like it would be easier to end it all. Because to fake my essence, to fake the truth, the most pure thing that I have, was horror. Just to what? To be able to be given some food, or to be able to, have access to some, food or water or whatever. At some point, I think it's better to freaking accept one's death than to continue to fake it in this world. Just what? Just for this world to give you food, you have to pay with money. It's just an abomination of creation altogether. It's just everything is in reverse. And then you think, oh, you have to be in the world, you have to, in order to know yourself. Are you freaking kidding me? Like, what are you freaking describing? I've known myself more in these years in which I stayed away from the world. And by the way, since November 2023, it was the first time in which I stayed consistently here by myself, having 3-4 weeks sometimes in which I wouldn't see any human being. I would come here, I would take some provisions, and I wouldn't go into the village for 2, 3, 4 weeks in a row. So I wouldn't just be natural, without interacting with other humans, without interacting with the systems, without interacting with money, without needing to fake it. I just was in my natural state all day long. And as much as I stayed, okay, literally now I have, since November, is like 2 + 5, 7 months now, in which I've lived like this, and I feel the most alive I've ever felt. I feel the most, true I've ever felt. I feel I've regained so much of myself in these 7 months. So, and I'm going to the village each day. Each time I go to the village, for example, I just came from the village right now. I went to the shop and I can see how I have to fake it. I can see it. It's just, this world does not allow me to be myself in my true self. Or maybe I just don't have the courage to be like that. Because as I said, I just feel I will be seen as a schizophrenic. Or I'll be mocked, I just feel afraid to show my true side. Because my true side is so pure. It's so like a child. It's like I would really ask people, like, what the heck is happening to us? It's like, where are we? What is this? How did we ended up here? Why are we here? It's like, why are we here? Why are we doing this stuff? It's like, do you know why are we doing this stuff? With the cashier, the money, the products, well, why? Do you remember? Do you know? Can you tell me? I don't know, man. It just feels like there's something going on here, which is strange. Very strange, to say the least. It's just strange. It's like, am I afraid to truly remember myself? Maybe if I would be honest enough with myself, I could just remember who I truly am. Instead of freaking out about, this world not showing me not giving me the truth, or not being conducive to me, for me to gain self-awareness. Maybe I'm just afraid of remembering. Maybe I'm just afraid of remembering myself. But this is why I still feel that in this isolation, I've had the I've given to myself the necessary time to make this courage, bit by bit, to enter more into my true territory of what I am, and to find myself. Because again, this world is not here to do that for me. This world is not here to show me who I am. I have to do it for myself. And it's easier to do it for myself when I am with myself, rather than when I am with this world, which is here to take me away from this remembrance and this knowledge. So I was really upset with this person that I was discussing with. I was really annoyed and upset at the same time, because I couldn't understand, why are you saying this stuff? Why are you promoting this? And I felt afraid. Like, come on, it's like you're saying this, and other people might hear this and they might feel influenced by these words, you know, without understanding that this is a complete mistake. To say that you have to be in the world to know yourself, that's a complete mistake. And I felt afraid, like others would hear that and they would be influenced, and you know, they would be, their paths towards their true nature and their true self would be again, you know, misguided. You know, they would be again deceived. They would buy into a lie. Oh yeah, we have to be into the world, and now they go back into the world. But I just can see through my experience so far that there is no true self-knowledge. There is zero true self-knowledge by interacting with this world. At least for me, it didn't prove to be like that. So I felt afraid when I would hear this person mention and like so convincingly, you know, stating these things. Not so much I didn't felt afraid for myself, because I already know the truth. I already know what experience has showed me, and I know my truth. But I was afraid for others. I was afraid that, see, people like this, and comments like this, and notions like this, the person itself might not even have had, you know, necessarily deliberate intent to harm or to create confusion or, you know, deception into the world. But it's just the notions themselves which are deceptive. And if one adopts them and promotes them without a true investigation and a true experience of what those notions truly mean, then it can, one without fault, sometimes it can promote things which are ultimately, you know, harming. I'm far from saying that, for example, we cannot understand, or we cannot, you know, there is zero value of being in the world. There is some value of being in the world, but that value is only valuable in the world of creation. It's valuable if you want to figure out who you are from the standpoint of creation. Like, what can you do in creation? Who can you be in creation? What more can you find out about yourself, yourself in creation? But anything that we can find about ourselves through creation and through the means of creation is gonna remain always here in creation. It's like, you know, you have those video games, right? And you can have your character in the video game. And as much as you explore the video game world, of course, you gain more assets and skills, and your character in the video game can, you know, become more and more, you know, skillful and mastery at being itself, and then you can play the video game even better. But that's only, you can know yourself through the video game, and you can build character in the video game if you are interested in the video game. But if what you want is to wake up in the seat in your chair where you're playing the video game, if your interest is to get back to true life, to real life outside of the video game, then just finding out what your game character is about is just how would the game character, improving my game character or getting to know my game character would help me, my true self, which is in the chair playing the video game, let's say, or maybe on a table connected with some helmet somehow and asleep and in a coma and is certainly into the video game. How would that help me? Like that exist outside of the video game. How would anything that happens in the video game, including just becoming my holistic game character in the video game, would help me, my true self, which exists outside of the video game? How would the game character ever help the true being? Just doesn't make any sense. But I'm far from saying that if we are interested in building character in the video game, if we are interested in discovering and more of what our game character is about, then I agree completely. Yes, you have to be in the world in the way in which feels fit to you. Maybe you have to interact only with some portions of the world and not others, but you have to listen to the internal constitution of your game character, which is here to lead you to the experiences that you need in the video game. Yes, from this perspective I agree with this notion that we have to be in the world, because otherwise, of course, if you want to build your game character, where are you going to build it if not in the game? Of course you have to be in the world, of course. But what I believe that this person and others which might think like this might fail to or miss to understand right now is that not everybody here is interested in building their game character. This is what they don't understand, or they fail to see at this moment, because I believe they lacked the experience. They still haven't had the experience of their true self. When one experiences one's true self, I believe there is zero turning back. It's like obvious that the true self is just gazillions times more interesting, gazillions times more exhilarating to discover and understand than the game character, with all of its levels and possibilities. Because the game character is enormous, and it can be extremely majestic, and it can have so many things, to discover and be and do with it. But the true self is just much more, even though the true self appears like nothing, just so simple, the true self is almost nothing compared to the game character, which feels like to have all these things that you have to acquire and do and know, and it's always a thrill, that's just the true self at first seems like so mundane, so nothing, so boring in a way, at first, just the first. But even though it is so mundane, it feels like the most familiar thing one has ever experienced. And after one is experiencing the true self for the first time, it's like there's no going back. I just want that all my life, How do I approach more of that? How do I, grow more of that in myself? And the interest towards the game character, with all of its possibilities, all of its levels, all of its things, just diminishes instinctually. So I believe when these people, they are saying that we have to be in the world to know ourselves, they are meaning we have to be in the game so we can know our game character with all of its levels, of course. And here I need to state that the game character is not only what we see here in the human form as we see it right now. The game character is a multi-dimensional being which has multi-dimensional levels to itself. It's like it's at its highest levels of the game character. It is eternal. It exists outside of time and space. The game character, it's this energetic, let's say, almost, it is a god. Like the game character at its outermost, it's like an eternal being. It's only in this realm that the game character appears to be mortal, but the game character has its own immortal version, has its own, fully powerful and, having some knowledge version and some form of like higher knowledge, and it is extremely majestic, the game character, in the capacities it has and the notions it has, and it's just extremely majestic. But even so, like, I believe that It's hard perhaps, or even unimaginable, to comprehend that given all this majesty, let's say, that the game character can provide for a player, one can still find itself in in the condition that all of that majesty, all of those possibilities, everything that the game character can offer still feels like nothing in a way. Almost so, just so little, it's almost nothing compared to the true self. So this is why once then, after it has tasted and experienced, this is the most important, to have the experience of the true self. Not to think about it or theorize about it or imagine it or, thinking like you had some mystical experience and now you know it. No, truly experiencing the true self. And once you do, it's unmistakably, you just know. You just understand everybody and everyone who ever told you about the absolute, and just, oh God, oh God, yeah, this is what they were speaking about, Jesus Christ. This is what they were speaking about. It's just clear right now. And so many people can have mystical experiences, and they can experience the higher levels of their game character, and then they think that those higher levels, it is the true self, but it's just a higher level, a truer level, let's say, of the game character. And when one experiences the true self, it's unmistakably, you just know. Sometimes it just renders you, there's nothing more to say about it. There's nothing more to talk about it. It's just obvious. It's the Tao. It's the Tao. It's the unspeakable. You just know it and that's it. But then you want to become more and more with it. You have to, let's say, marry with it. You just want to merge with it more and more. You want to be with it more and more, because that's everything that you want from that moment on. So when people like this speak about that we have to be in the world to know ourselves, I don't believe they had the experience of their true self yet, because otherwise it's just obvious. I've met some beings, really few, which I can tell they had a true experience of their true self. And just, there's nothing to talk with these beings almost. It's like we don't have what to talk. It's just we know. Like in some words, we immediately let each other know that we know. So that's it. Then we can, of course, just, spend time talking about the things in the game, because what else can we talk about? What else can we use words for? We have to talk about the things in the game because we already know the truth. So there's nothing to speak about that. I see you, you see me. I see you see the truth. You see I see the truth. It's just that. So I felt afraid. I felt afraid that people might be, deceived when they hear these notions that we have to be in the game in order to know ourselves, because they are wrong notions. If they speak about knowing our true self, if they speak about knowing the game self, they are accurate. We have to be in the game if we want to know our game self, for sure. But since we are using the same words but describing different experiences, we are saying that, oh, you have to know yourself, you have to be in the game. And I'm telling you, no, if you want to know yourself, you have to be with yourself alone in a room, or somewhere, just to know your true self, because we are using the same words, self, you have to know yourself, self, but we are expressing two different experiences using the same word, and this is where confusion can start to arise, and this is where this confusion can create confusion in others. And maybe I was afraid Maybe I was afraid that if others would be deceived and they would follow again the game and trying to know themselves through the game, and they would just know their game character, they would potentially beings which would have the potential to know their true self would be again deceived another round, let's say, and brought back to the game another round. And I felt afraid. I felt afraid for them. Why did I felt afraid for them? Maybe there can be many reasons. Maybe since I don't know what happens here, and making this courage to know my true self really requires so much effort. I really need to put in so much courage, because it's like, to know my true self, it feels like I have to stand against the cosmic forces here which are pushing me away from my true self, which are, it's like, it feels like there are cosmic forces in this realm which are pushing me. It's like, feels like heavy weight to push me down and to keep me down, and to feel afraid of even looking into the direction of my true self. So because I feel I need so much courage anyway to just look, it would just feel like more, maybe it would feel more easy to see that there are others, and I'm not alone in this, and there are others here which are doing the same effort, and I can feel, supported. I can feel like, okay, it's not easy, but at least, we are together. It's not easy, but at least there are others here, and they can send a word of encouragement sometimes when maybe I am losing my way and I'm feeling so scared and I don't know what path to take anymore because I feel so scared. Maybe there can be others which I can turn to, maybe I feel so afraid and alone on this path, and it's out of this fear of walking this journey on my own that I feel like it would be much more easy. I could complete this journey much more quickly if I would be surrounded by others which walk in the same way. And I feel like it would be the same for them. We could support each other. And maybe when I see these people that they are, saying these notions that we have to be in the game and basically taking the chance away from other beings to walk this genuine path towards their true self, I just feel afraid, like, oh look, it's like another deception that can take beings away from walking this true journey, and it just leaves the few of us, which I feel there are few of us which we might not even know of each other, but we are walking in this way anyway. But it leaves us in so much loneliness, so isolated. It's like, if there would be others, much, like, let's say, more of us, it's just to make everything feel so easier, much more easier. I mean, there is still so much challenge that we would have to walk through together, but at least we would be together. Right now, I feel extremely alone. I am alone. I don't feel alone. I know I am alone. I am majorly alone in this. And even though I've tried to put up these videos and speak about this stuff for years now, I haven't encountered not even another human soul that I would feel like, okay, like we found each other, we are walking this journey together. I found some souls recently, actually, in the past 6-7 months, but it's like still coming and going, it's like, oh, like, we're here, we're not here, it's just, it still feels I'm walking on my own. It feels I'm walking alone. Luckily, I feel like life has gifted me with the opportunity to meet true beings which are walking in the same way in this life. And even though they might not be by my side and we don't walk together, I just know they are there. I saw them. I know who they are. I know what they are doing. And just knowing that they exist, they are what gives me courage each day. Just knowing that they exist, just having heard them or saw them once, just once in my existence, has filled my heart with like so much faith and courage undescribable. They are my guides. They are my guiding stars, even if they do not know that they are so. Even if we don't speak or we don't interact or we don't walk together this journey, and I feel completely on my own and unsupported, let's say, they are my shining stars. Even just by them only existing, they are my shining stars. They are my guides. They are what gives me force each day, because life has gifted me with the opportunity to see, like, I'm far from being insane. There are others which feel the same, which have had the same experience of this truth, of this true life, of this absolute existence. I've seen, they know. So I only have this, let's say, imaginary phantom, fellow beings on my side day by day. They are not here physically. They are not here even, emotionally or mentally. They are in their own words and we don't speak. But they are in my heart. And my heart takes courage from just knowing their existence. And this is what has kept me going all these years. Luckily, life has gifted me to know two such beings really at the beginning of my journey. And even though I haven't perhaps spoken to them so much, or we haven't, let's say, truly, we weren't truly, let's say, building a partnership to walk in this way together, I just knew they were what gave me confidence, and I could walk this path. Just knowing that it is true and they exist, somebody else exists that knows this. So right now, all I can do is just to wake up each day. And by the way, each day, has become so much evident. It's just like this Groundhog Day. Each day, it's just so obvious. Everything is repeating the same. And all I can do is just to wake up in another day and just continue walking. Just continuing doing this process of approaching this truth, making the courage to approach it more and more. And I can tell you, it requires everything. It's just you would think that, oh, but if it's your true self, why are you scared of it? Well, yeah, exactly. It's like there are cosmic forces here, cosmic forces beyond the human comprehension, and they are extremely powerful and skillful in beyond comprehension. And these forces are working to create so much doubt and so much fear, and just this weight which is put onto all true seekers of truth. And now truth, that which is the most true, that which is the most pure within us, is scaring us the most. You have, paradoxically, one needs now the most amount of courage to approach that which is the most familiar and simple and natural. So to go back to naturality, to to go back to purity requires so much effort right now, and so much courage, and so much faith, and so much determination. So all I can do is just to continue walking. Although I have been feeling plagued by doubt day by day. I'm eaten by doubt, similar to Prometheus being eaten by that eagle on that cliff. This is how it feels like since I started this journey. Just the myth of Prometheus seems the most close in a way to me. It's just I feel like I'm chained on that rock each day and I'm eaten by that eagle of doubt each day, and then I have to regenerate my faith each night, let's say, and then I'm eaten again by doubt each day. The doubt that, am I doing the right thing? Am I insane to think like this? How do I truly know I'm not deluding myself with all of this? What if these people are right and they know better, and I should be going back again into the world? And maybe they are right. Maybe that's where the solution is found. Maybe I'm just trying to avoid the solution by thinking I'm doing the right thing. Maybe I'm just avoiding the right thing. But something in me is like a fire. I don't know how to describe it. It's burning in me, and it knows this is the right thing, even though it feels so painful, and even though it feels like I'm so alone, and even though I'm going through so much doubt each day. It's just something in me which just like a, I don't know, it's such a concentrated fire. I don't know how it's almost like a solid fire, if that would make sense. It's just something so concentrated that you can't split it apart. You can't, it's just so true. And it tells me, no, this is the truth. This is the right thing. This is the right thing to do. But it is painful. Like, the right thing is freaking painful. It's painful to, it has been so painful for me to live in this way. I feel so alone. It's so tempting, I want to have connection. I want to feel, surrounded by, beings, other beings, which I can feel like, oh God, I can finally relax around you guys. Oh God, I've waited for you for so much time. I can finally relax now. But in order to feel like this, they have to be true beings. Because instinctually, if I try to relax myself with the people of this world, which don't have this, experience of the true self yet, it's just like my internal system. I could try to force myself to relax around them, and I'm doing this because otherwise I would go insane. Like as I described in the shop, it's like, what the heck is this? So of course I have to fake I'm relaxed. But the thing is that my internal system, I can feel it's not relaxed around them. I can never relax around them. It's not that I don't want to, it's just my internal system, the truth within me, does not relax around them. They don't create a feeling of relaxation. I cannot relax around them. But I already know how I feel when I'm surrounded by my true beings, by my family, let's say, by the true people which belong, in a way, to the truth. I just know how I feel around them. I just, God, I can finally relax. Just, I don't need to be anything. I don't need to say anything. I know I'm seen in my totality. I know I'm seen, and I can relax. But with these people, it feels like and anything that I do, they never see me. It's like I can try to be the best of the best. I can try to match their best of expectations, be the perfect woman, in their world. Compassionate, loving. I can give everything to them, and I have, and I've seen what has happened. It's like they never saw me, and I've never been able to relax around them. And again, I was never able to gain self-awareness and to remember myself. But when I encounter my true people, I know that just I will remember myself instantly with them. Just one gaze, that one of these people would just look at me, and because they will know me and they will recognize me, I will recognize myself. And I will know myself instantly. That's the thing. I will remember. I remember who I am. I know this is the effect that I am to encounter, if I am to encounter another true real being in flesh and blood. I know I am to remember myself.